ADAC GT Masters. We are go. The car's found out. And he's given a squeeze. Look at this, side by side. Pulling out right in front. And really good close racing. Wonderful stuff.
Welcome back to the Nürburgring, race 2 of the weekend, round 4 of a 6-round season for the ADAC GT Masters. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Truck Grand Prix, such a highlight of the GT Masters calendar. We expose ourselves to an entirely new audience here when we come to the Truck Grand Prix. We reckon there are well over 130,000 people visiting us over this weekend, and with an air temperature of 28.3 degrees centigrade, it is absolutely perfect conditions as we get ready to start race 8 of this 12-race season for the ADAC GT Masters. As we look there at a brand new driver to join the pole position club in the League of Super Sports Cars, because it was Jamie Day this morning who put the Come To You Aston Martin on to pole position. Yesterday, it was an absolute masterclass demonstration from Felix Hersiger and Finn Zulauf. Hersiger starting on pole position, and along with Finn Zulauf leading every lap of the race apart from through the pit stop sequence. And it was a win that jumps them to the top of the point standings, leapfrogging Leighton Furry and Tim Zimmerman, who came into this weekend as the championship leaders. But it is incredibly close, because Furry and Zimmerman came home in 3rd place yesterday. In 2nd place was Keanu Blum and Nicholas Callas, and you could see Keanu and Nicholas getting ready, because as was the case yesterday, they are starting 2nd on the grid in the Ford Mustang for HRT. So in a very strong position, still in the championship hunt, albeit 46 points back from Felix Hersiger and Finn Zulauf. It's after this weekend that we start to drop drivers from the championship hunt as we look at Schnitzelam Racing. Welcome back to the grid of the ADAC GT Masters. Before this race, there are 137 points available. Felix Hersiger and Finn Zulauf lead the championship with 138 points. So from here on, it narrows down to just what will be a handful of drivers that compete for the title by the time we get to the end of the season. Certainly the 1, 2, 3 at the moment, Hersiger and Zulauf with that 138. 2nd in the championship, Leighton Furry, Tim Zimmerman with the 133. And then Sandro and Giuliano Holzem in 3rd place with 93. So they're 45 points back. Keanu Blum and Nicholas Callas, if they can keep the kind of progress that they have been showing, still looking for that elusive first win in the ADAC GT Masters. But with a P2 starting position, they are in a strong point to potentially, well, get on the podium and maybe get to the top step in this race today. Since yesterday, we have had a balance of performance change. Yes, the dreaded BOP. The BMWs have been pegged back somewhat. They've got an additional 10 kilos on board, means that they now weigh 1320 kilograms. They've also got reduced boost pressure. The Mustangs have also got an additional 10 kilograms on board, taking them up to 1330. They have also had their restrictors reduced by 1 millimeter. The Lamborghinis also with an additional 10 kilos on board. They're up to 1350 kilograms. And their restrictors have been reduced by 1 millimeter. And of course, with the system of success ballast, it means that Felix Hersiger and Finn Zulauf, yesterday's winner, you saw them on your screen there, they, along with that 20 kilo success ballast and the change to BOP, are 30 kilograms heavier today than they were yesterday. And it means they've got quite a lot of work to do. They're starting in 6th place on the grid. But Leighton Furry, Tim Zimmerman are starting in 7th. So the main contenders kind of bunched together as we look there at Gerhard Tweresa on the grid. Great to have Gerhard back on the grid of ADAC GT Masters, a regular visitor here. He's done 37 races in the League of Super Sports Cars. His teammate is a very notable name in the shape of Gottfried Grasser. Yes, he who is the team principal owner of Grasser Racing, who is sharing the driving duties of that car, back racing again after a 13-year absence. Right, well, we're starting the first of 2 formation laps. If you didn't join us yesterday, well, firstly, where were you? Secondly, you will not know that we have 2 formation laps because we have a safety truck. You could see it in the background there. Photos from the formation lap, the cars circulating behind a safety truck, are normally shared far and wide after these weekends because it's quite a unique look, the giants and the little minnows of cars behind it. So we'll have 1 formation lap. This is the important part for the drivers, to get the heat into the tyres, into the brakes, trying to drag the brakes slightly to generate heat that will pass through the rims, because yes, even in temperatures of 28.3 degrees centigrade, there's still a lot of heating up to do. No tyre warmers allowed in the GT Masters, as we have a look at the starting grid, and a first ever pole position for Jamie Day for Come To You Racing. Kiana Blum alongside him in the Hout Racing Mustang. Row 2, J-Mo Hertling and Alex Tauscher, 2 drivers making their debuts this year, certainly debut permanently for Alex Tauscher in GT Masters. Max Rice and Finn Zulauf line up on row 3 of the grid. On row 4, Tim Zimmerman and Sandro Holzem, an all BMW row. The BMW is very much bunched together. Then Gerhard Twereza and John Paul Southern line up next. Then Simon Conoprim with a grid drop and Fabio Rauer alongside him. 12th on the grid and on row 6. On row 7, Felice Hjelmini, great to have him joining us, and Mark Kastelitz is alongside him in the Porsche. Then it's Ethan Brown and Joseph Ellerine, another driver from South Africa, and he's running for FK Performance Motorsport. There is Leighton Fury looking on. He said yesterday, we're going to need something of a miracle to finish on the podium. Well, they finished on the podium. I said to him this morning, you are in the business of miracles, aren't you? And he went, yep, we are. We're in the championship hunt. They are 5 points back from Hersiger and Zulauf, so very much all to play for here in race 8 of the season for the ADAC GT Masters. And we're right on board Leighton Fury's teammate Tim Zimmerman there as he generates that heat in the tyres and in the brakes. I mentioned the second formation lap because the safety truck does not go quick enough to allow the drivers to generate the heat. So they have that 1 lap where they do that very function of heating the tyres up, and then the safety truck comes out. This is all for the show as well. As I mentioned at the top of the show, a lot of people here who will have never have witnessed this kind of racing before, as we see confirmation of the points there that we have been talking about. A lot of people who will be watching GT Masters for the first time ever, so really nice to put on a good show, and with the safety truck as well. It's such a unique atmosphere here at the Nürburgring. It's been a party atmosphere all weekend long, but now it's time for the serious stuff to take place for the GT3 drivers. They are on board with the championship leader Finn Zulauf. We're going to be keeping across these cars as the race goes on. Everybody looking on from the teams. Robin Rogowski, of course, sharing the number 77 Audi with Simon Conoprim. And I did mention he had a grid drop, and that was because Simon Conoprim reached his 3rd reprimand of the season, and that means he's starting 5 places further back than he qualified. But it is a 1-hour race, 60 minutes plus 1 lap, with a mandatory stop and driver change. So plenty of opportunities to play a bit of strategy, plenty of opportunities to enjoy this glorious German sunshine as we get ready for this race in the shadow of Nürburgring Castle here in the Eifel regions. Conditions could not be any more perfect, with the track at 26.5 degrees centigrade, and with no tyre changes during the pit stops. Tyre degradation may well be an issue towards the end of the race. And maybe keep an eye on the Mustangs, because they're very good at getting the tyres heated up, but of course they then get into the window and then beyond the window quite quickly. They're working on that at HRT. We'll see how that shakes out as Keanu Blum on the outside of Jamie Day comes out of turn 11, a circuit that has 11 turns, 4 to the left and 7 to the right, 3.629 kilometers around. We are ready to go racing here at the Nürburgring. Race 8 for the ADAC GT Masters 2026, and we are go. A good start for Jamie Day. He's got a nose in front. Keep an eye on the cars behind that are all fighting for those positions. That's J-Mo Hertling in the Mercedes. Great to have Mercedes back on the grid for ADAC GT Masters, and they are very much in contention here. And J-Mo Hurtling competing at the front, but here on the inside comes Keanu Blum. But Jamie Day's broken clear of that fight for second place. There was a car going very deep in the background. I think it was Felice Gelmini that might have been going deep in the Mercedes. But Jamie Day breaking clear of quite a fight further back. Two of the Mustangs running in the top four. Max Rice in the #1 car in there as well. Tim Zimmerman will have an eye especially on the car in front of him, because that is Finn Zulauf, the main championship challengers. Here also there, Sandro Holzem. They are all very much in the championship hunt, but everybody on this opening lap fighting for those positions. There's Joseph Ellerin at the back in the BMW, also trying to put pressure onto Felice Gelmini as the cars head up towards the chicane and then back round in towards turn 11 in a few moments, and then out along the pit straight. Are we going to see some challenges for position in the early stages of this race? It is a relatively long race in the grand scale of things, but this is the perfect opportunity. When the cars are all running together, there will be some kind of slipstream effect. As they come past the pitch, you can see Keanu Blum just taking a little look to the inside of Jamie Day, maybe getting some cool air into the radiator of that Mustang into the right hand of turn 1. Slightly downhill, quite a tricky corner, I'm told, as we look back from Finn Zulauf towards second in the championship. So first and second in the championship running together at the moment. The championship leader in 6th place with that additional 20 kilograms of success ballast on board. The second place in the championship with Tim Zimmerman has an additional 5 kilograms of success ballast on board. And of course, Keanu Blum, Nicholas Callas in second place have that additional 10 kilograms of success ballast. And that is as a result of finishing second in yesterday's race. So everybody looking fairly tidy in the opening stages of this race. The pit window will open 25 minutes into the race. So when the clock says 35, the pit window will open. Then the cars will all have 10 minutes to come into the pits for a mandatory stop and driver change. There is a minimum pit stop time of 85 seconds from pit entry to pit exit for all cars. They must not go below that. The only exception is the number 22 car, Gerhard Twerese. They will have a shorter pit stop of 70 seconds, so 15 seconds shorter. Right, on board with Alex Tauscher is Max Rice, who's moved past him in the Mustang. Alex Tauscher ducks to the inside as they look in towards turn 1. Also there in the background, first, second, third in the championship, all running together, one behind the other in the correct order of the championship. Sandro Holzem looking a little bit eager on Tim Zimmerman. So Zimmerman in 7th place. He's second in the championship, third in the championship. Sandro Holzem knows that he needs to get past that BMW to gain those extra points. Both of them will be wanting to get past Finn Zulauf, the championship leader, just ahead of them. In the background, there's Gerhard Twerese. Remember, he will have that shorter pit stop on account of his co-driver being a bronze-rated driver, so that means it will be a shorter pit stop for them. Everybody continuing around at the moment. I was about to mention Alex Tauscher just as he got passed by Max Rice. Well, it's good that the Norwegians are hopefully going to win something this weekend. Alex Tauscher, who comes from Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Deutschland, guesting here this weekend. He's sitting in for Colin Bernighausen, who has had an injury at work. He's broken a thigh bone. We say get well soon, Colin Bernighausen. I know that he is hoping to be back at the next round, but in the meantime, Alex Tauscher is enjoying his first ever weekend of GT3 racing and doing a sterling job in the number 41 car yesterday, coming home in 7th place. So out across the line we come once again. Everybody just holding station at the moment. In the background, see Fabio Rauer in the navy and orange BMW. I'm told I called it an Aston Martin yesterday. It's very hot in the commentary box. Apologies for that. But Fabio Rauer in that number 10 BMW in 11th place. Looking at the back of Simon Conoprim, who I've already mentioned, a little further back than he might have been as a result of that grid drop. So we're expecting to see Conor Prim maybe making good progress through. The BOP changes overnight, and we've had a few BOP changes this weekend. Well, certainly the BMW runners have had furrowed brows about that one, and every driver I've spoken to today They've all said, oh, the BOP's rubbish this weekend, but that is how it works. I've yet to find a driver who goes, do you know what, the BOP's really worked in our favour this weekend. The BOP, it means that all these cars, different configurations, we have turbocharged, naturally aspirated, front, mid, rear engine cars, all running together in the same race. And the BOP is not worked out on the back of a fag packet. It's a really complex formula that is used to make sure these cars are all leveled up and they can run on a level playing field. And that is borne out by the fact that the top 15 in this race are separated by 9.8 seconds. Not separated by that kind of distance is 6th, 7th and 8th, and we've got a lot of attention on this because that's 1st, 2nd, 3rd in the championship, running in that order behind each other, and now holds them to the inside of Zimmerman. Very important that they don't have a crash, that they don't record a non-finish. The championship is so close, but Holzem knows that he is a long way back from Zimmerman, who is 2nd in the championship. So getting past the orange and black BMW will be fairly critical to try and make inroads in that championship hunt. Of course, while both of them are fighting, that's allowing Finn Zulav in 6th place to break a little bit clear of this battle. They'll be very happy about that as the championship leaders. In the background, Gerhard Twereza keeping very much in the hunt. And at the moment, if the pit window were to open now, I mean, I know it's not, but if it was, then Twereza and Gottfried Grasser, that car would emerge some 8 seconds in the lead of this race. So really important that Twereza stays in touch with those cars in front. Jamie Day has broken clear by just under 1 second. 0.960 was the gap between 1st and 2nd. In fact, that's just opened up a little bit more, 1.171. So the gap between 1st and 2nd is opening up. The Aston Martin is the first I've come to you have ever scored a pole position in GT Masters. And it's the first time that Jamie Day, the driver from Great Britain, has also started on pole position. So in a really good position, looking really solid. Jamie, the race leader, who is also very much acting as a driver coach to his co-driver, Baudouin Detu, doing a really good job and doing a racing across a number of different series. Now, I said keep an eye on Simon Conoprim in the Audi because he'd started further back than his pace might have dictated, and he launches that Audi to the inside of Gerhard Twereza. In the background, Fabio Rauer, who is trying to come through in his wake in the orange and blue BMW. Now to the outside of Gerhard Twereza and then squeezing through on the inside. Job done. Talking to Storm Yerdrum, the co-driver of the number 10 car, and he tells me that yesterday they had a slow puncture in the number 10 BMW. It was a very slow puncture, but it was ongoing through the majority of the race. So the fact that they got that car home in 6th place is absolutely stunning, to be quite honest. A slow puncture normally means race end, but they kept it going and they detected the slow puncture before they'd gone to the pit window, but decided that changing it, because it was such a slow puncture, that changing it would be a disadvantage. So they ran with that slow puncture all the way to the end of the race. These are the stories that we don't see when we look at 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, all running in a queue, heading towards us at the Nürburgring, in towards turn 1. Alex Tauscher maybe looking to try and make the attack back on Max Rice in the number 1 car. Further back, the sister car to Alex Tauscher, that's Mark Kastelitz in the number 14 Porsche. Another driver who was a little bit in the wars yesterday and also incurred the wrath of the stewards on occasions, and so needs to keep the nose clean, but fighting and working hard to catch up with 12th place John Paul Southern. So Jamie Day looks to be in control at the moment, but we will have this pit window that will open when the clock strikes 35, so in about 12 minutes time, 12 and a half minutes time. That is when the co-driver will step in behind the wheel of the car. Jamie Day, who races in GT World Challenge Europe, a very, very experienced driver, in fact, has been at the Spa 24-hour race, has done numerous other series as well, as we look at the championship standings if the race finished now, so certainly in the same order. But Jamie very much needs to make hay while the sun shines, because his less experienced teammate in the shape of Baudouin Detu may not be quite as quick as he is in the come to you Racing Aston Martin. There he is at the moment. That is coming across the line. We look at the gap, up to 1.5 seconds over Keanu Blum, who shares with Nicholas Callas the second place HRT Mustang. There's somebody in the background there chucking some dirt into the air. The second place Mustang from HRT, if you remember at the Lausitz Ring, there was a big impact with the wall, as we see Mark Kastelitz having a little look to the inside of John Paul Southern for 12th place, but Southern has the momentum around the outside. But at the Lausitz Ring last time out, the number 2 car in the hands of Nicholas Callas made heavy contact with the tri-oval wall, and there was more damage to the chassis than they realised, and it was only after free practice here on Friday that they realised the chassis was probably cracked, so they've had to change the chassis on that car. They've had to get a setup pretty well prior to quali yesterday, so to have brought it home as they did yesterday in second place, to be running in second now just shows how hard that team have worked. And at the moment, J-Mo Hertling in third place in the number 21 car for SR Motorsport by Schnitzelam. Great to have Schnitzelam back on the grid. Long time protagonists in ADAC GT Masters, and having them back here. And of course, those of you who followed the ADAC GT4 Germany last year will recognise the names J-Mo Hertling and Enrico Ferderer. That was the pairing that won the championship in fairly dominant fashion last year. J-Mo Hertling has been in the ADAC GT Masters in the past. He's had a second place in 2024 at Hockenheim, but this weekend is the first ever weekend in GT Masters for Enrico Ferderer. You can see the pit window will be opening in a little over 10 minutes time. John Paul Southern in 12th place, doing a sterling job in the 163 car. Mark Kastelitz still there at the moment. Mark, who is relatively inexperienced in this discipline of racing. Mark, this is his 8th race in ADAC GT Masters. Got a second place on debut at the Red Bull Ring at the start of the year. But the Porsches may be struggling a little bit here this weekend, well, certainly in this race. At the moment, Alex Tauscher putting his to good use in 5th place, but doesn't look like he's able to do anything about Max Rice. I'm looking at the timing screens, and Keanu Blum is the fastest man on the track. He did set that fastest lap a few laps back, but he has the fastest lap of the race, a 1:27.109. For those who are interested in that, at the moment the leader is circulating a 1:27.4, so about 3/10 slower than that fastest lap. Keanu's last lap was also a 1:27.4. So at the moment the drivers need to look after the cars, look after the tyres in this heat. Need to make sure that when the co-driver gets behind the wheel, they've actually got something with which to grip, with which to stop the car. So they've got to look after it. There are no tyre changes. So the drivers need to look after these tyres, because if you take all the life out of them in the first half of the race, your co-driver is not going to thank you in part 2 of the race when there's no grip or there's bits hanging off the car, as sometimes we see. So very much thinking of the long game, and with those lap times about 3-4 tenths slower than the start of the race, it may be drivers just maintaining the car at the moment. Well, Alex Tauscher, what did I say about the Porsche not having the pace of the Mustang? I think he might disagree with that somewhat. Max Rice is in 4th place at the moment in the gold and blue Mustang. The floor shakes when the Mustang comes past our commentary position. Alex Tauscher, who is clearly enjoying his debut in GT3 racing. He is a 3-times winner in Porsche 6 Carrera Cup Deutschland, and he's won 2 of those races here at the Nürburgring. So he clearly likes this place, and at the moment he's putting the pressure back onto Max Rice to try and work a way past and into that 4th place. So that's the closest battle out on track at the moment. Out of turn 11 they will come. This is the fastest section of the track. Full tilt out past the pits. Is there going to be some kind of slipstream that Alex Tauscher can pick up from Max Rice as they head in towards turn 1? He's behind him at the moment, doesn't duck out to cool anything. And there's a car going slowly, the 26 Felice Gelmini in that wonderful livery. I don't think there's any issues there. Coming out of turn 11, quite a long way back from the lead pack. And along with Nico Handke, bringing Pro Sport Racing back to the grid of ADAC GT Masters. And of course, Pro Sport for years, I'm used to saying Pro Sport Aston Martin. Well, I was calling BMWs Aston Martins yesterday. So that is not an Aston Martin. That is a Mercedes, because that is what Pro Sport have moved to. And Mercedes-AMG, I think the team still finding their feet with that car to a degree. But the livery, quite a legendary livery, is one that has attracted quite a lot of attention coming into this weekend. So at the moment, things are reasonably settled down, but 6.5 minutes before we head into the pit window, and that is when things might start to shake up a bit. Yesterday, we saw the two Razzoon More Than Racing Porsches tripping over each other in the pits, which is something that I expect the team will be wanting to ensure doesn't happen again today. And Christoph Huber, who is now a team manager at Razzoon More Than Racing, may well have had a little discussion with the drivers of the 41 and the 14 cars to make sure there are no such issues. At the moment, the only thing occupying the 41 car is getting past the #1 car. So they head towards turn 1 once again. Our championship leader there in 63, second in the championship there in number 11, third in the championship there in 56. But shortly, coming under attack from the fast-charging Simon Conoprim in the Audi, working his way forwards up through the pack. You can see the gap evolution there. So clearly the Audi with a fair bit of pace at this point of the race. And of course, Simon Conoprim, quite an experienced pilot in this day and age, and we've seen him quite a long time in GT4 racing and really finding his home in GT3 and the world of ADAC GT Masters. And also the Audi, which is fairly old compared to some of the models around, but certainly has a very good turn of speed. And we've seen Audi winning in other series as well this year. So certainly, just because it's an older model doesn't mean it lacks any pace. And at the wheel, Simon Conoprim is certainly showing that here as he closes in on the two BMWs in front of him. We're less than 5 minutes from the pit window opening, so there will be co-drivers that will be limbering up in the pit lane at the moment, getting ready. The teams will make the call when to bring the drivers in. When the pit window opens, well, I get the feeling that Jamie Day may well run very late into the pit window because he's got an open track in front of him. He is probably, no disrespect to Baudouin Detou, the quicker of the two drivers, just on account of the fact that he is the more experienced. So I think the team may well try to maximise him as potentially the quickest driver on an open bit of track and bring him in late in the window. But we may well find some of these other drivers that are caught in traffic at the moment. The teams may well bring them in early and try and get the jump on the cars around them. On board with Simon Conoprim at the moment in the very pretty silver and red Audi. And Sandro Holzem, well, he had been putting the pressure onto Tim Zimmerman for a while, but now is having to defend. So that's allowed Zimmerman just to break clear a little. The gap to Zimmerman is up to about 0.7 of a second. And it just shows in motorsport, when a driver is having to defend, it allows the cars in front to break clear. Alex Tauscher is on the attack and now puts more pressure onto Max Rice. So Max, in the growling Mustang, has his mirrors full of Porsche. He's holding on to that 4th place at the moment. Their lap times are almost identical at this stage. And if Alex can't get the job done out on track, it may well be that Razzoon More Than Racing want to pull him into the pits fairly early in the pit window, get Leo Pickler behind the wheel of that car. I think Alex will be quite willing to stay out because he has had a smile on his face having made his debut in GT3 racing this weekend. Certainly looking like something of a seasoned veteran already as we head out in towards turn 1 once again. Max Rice just positioning the #1 car exactly where he needs to. Goes quite deep into that turn 1. Tauscher looks to be able to take a more nimble line into turn 1, but then Rice with that line into turn 2 and then around into 3 they will come. Now, not really an overtaking position here, but we have seen it, we saw it yesterday, drivers tending to make mistakes into turn 5, which is where we're about to approach now. It's quite a tricky 180-degree turn, and we have seen drivers running wide into and out of that turn 5. We saw that yesterday, then round into turn 6, and then it's hard on the power in towards turn 7. When they come out of 7 in a few moments, it will be flat out. Turn 8, well, it's a turn, but they take it flat out. At the moment, we're coming out of 7. and then up towards 8, which will be taken flat out. Another overtaking opportunity here, that flat out corner. The audience on the terraces being entertained here. Then the heavy braking into the Vidal chicane, turns 9 and 10, and they really attack the curbs here on the chicane. You see the cars jumping around, but the car needs to be pretty stable. They need a good exit from this next corner, because if you're not carrying top speed onto the straight, then you become vulnerable as they head into turn 1, which is where we're coming now. So good exit out of turn 11, which certainly Max Rice seems to have been able to do. A good exit out of the corner, then into turn 1 he comes, and he's able to fend off Alex Tauscher quite well there. So at the moment, things remain as they are. These cars so equal, particularly with the BOP. You need so much to be able to make that move. Maybe trying to force a mistake. The driver in front, maybe flash the lights, maybe just try and get them to look in their mirrors more than at the road in front, and that is where the opportunity comes. And again, Alex Tauscher is certainly on this section of the track into sector, well, the latter part of sector 1 is where the Porsche looks especially nimble and able to close in on the Mustang. But then when it gets onto the wide open, flat out sections, that's where then Max Rice looks able to defend with the grunt of that Ford. At the moment, things remaining as they are, but with the pit window opening in a little over 30 seconds, now it's strategy time. This is, of course, a sprint race, just one pit stop here, one pit window, unlike the endurance race we had last time out at the Lausitz-Ring, where we have 2 stops with tyre changes and refueling. Here, it is strictly just one stop, no tyre changes, no refueling. Just the minimum pit stop time. Only 2 mechanics allowed to work on the car. And when I say work, that is take tyre pressures, maybe wipe the windscreen, nothing else. Out along the pit straight we come once again. Jamie Day, while we've been looking at that, has opened up a gap to almost, well, a little over, in fact, 3 seconds from Keanu Blum. So Jamie Day stretching his legs still at the front. And as I suggested, may want to come in late during the pit window, which is now open. You'll see the grey Ps on your graphics. That means that the drivers have not pitted. If the P goes green, it means they are or have pitted. If the P goes red, it means bad news, because they've gone below the minimum pit stop time and may well see a penalty incoming. At the moment, it's all been very well behaved. I'll put the curse on it now, haven't I? Less than 9.5 minutes of the pit window remaining, and that is when everyone's going to have to come in. So we'll see what happens now. The majority of the field are up at turn 6 at the moment and up towards turn 7. Then we'll see who's going to be the first to blink. I think those at the back are most likely to want to come in early and try and get back out on some open track, and maybe put in some hot laps to try and beat some of the cars in front that will come in later in the window. At the moment, as expected, our leader stays out, as does second and third place. Right, first one peeling in, and that's a significant one. So in comes Tim Zimmerman to hand over to Leighton Furru. We just saw the orange and black BMW peeling off into the pit lane. He will keep to the speed limit, but this is going to be significant. So FK Performance Motorsport really going for a strategy call here. Leighton Furru, who is red hot behind the wheel of that BMW. They'll want to get him out. They've probably seen a window where they can get him out on some open track and maybe try and get the jump on the cars around him, and that would be significant in the championship hunt. Alex Tauscher wants to get the job done out on track. Looks to the outside of Max Rice in the #1 car. And now ducks back to the inside, into the corner they come, but that Mustang with so much power, but under braking into turn 5 they come. And it looks like Alex Tauscher has got the job done. So Alex Tauscher up into 4th place, relegating Max Rice back into the clutches of Finn Zulaf. Now, can Max Rice do anything to come back at him? At the moment, there's another car in, another of the BMWs is Joseph Ellerine, who's coming in the #12 FK Performance Motorsport BMW. So the 2 FK Performance cars, 2 of the FK Performance cars, certainly rolling the dice early. Now, Joseph Ellerine will be handing over to Victor Nielsen. Victor, driving that green and yellow car that you see on your screen there, was something of a sensation yesterday, making his debut in GT3 racing. He's been in GT4 Germany so far, And he qualified on the outside second row yesterday and was looking very rapid. So he now gets back behind the wheel of the BMW, having taken over from Joseph Ellerine, and that will be one to watch because he has been very, very impressive in that car. Who else is coming in? Max Rice is coming in the number 1 car. Emil Yerdrum will be getting ready to jump behind the wheel of the number 1 car. Emil, along with his brother Storm, both of them racing in this series. The Norwegian drivers who have been a really great addition to the GT Masters. And Emil, the more experienced of the two, now relieving Max Rice of driving duties. And again, I think a strategy call from the team to try and get the jump on the cars around them, but also in Felix Hersiger, championship leader. So they too coming in fairly early. So Felix Hersiger handing over to Finn Zulak. Felix's job is done for the weekend. All he can do now is sit and watch Finn Zulak bring it home. Finn, who's announced as an official Lamborghini GT3 junior driver this weekend. Congratulations to him. No pressure or anything. Now behind the wheel of the Liquimoli Team Exler Lamborghini Huracan. Gets it moving. Will try and hit that white line at the pit exit when the clock strikes 0. Cannot back off once he's into the fast lane. So the back timing of this is critical. How tight is it going to be? Look at Emil Yerdrum, impatient to get going. He tries to overtake Felix Hersiger on the exit of the pit. They wanted to get that job done in the pit stop sequence clearly, and they hadn't got it done, and so he muscles past on the pit exit, rejoins behind Leighton Furry, who has already made that stop. So Felix Hersiger handing over to Finn Zulaf, and Zulaf will be a little bit frustrated, I think, about that car that is in front. So it was Felix Hersiger who's taken over from Finn Zulaf, of course. So Hersiger, right, under investigation. Well, we did no surprises, should we say, blocking a car at the pit exit. I wondered if that might flash up. Of course, it is Finn Zulaf who did the first stint. Felix Hersiger now at the wheel of the 63 car. And yeah, the two cars running together at the pit exit. Max Rice and Emil Yerdrum. It's Emil Yerdrum now at the wheel. And a penalty lap has been awarded to car 63 for blocking number 1 at the pit lane exit. We saw that, and it may well have been that Felix Hersiger realised he was going to get to the line early before the clock struck 0. May well have backed out of it. What did I say about you can't park it up and just wait? So it blocked the car behind, and now we'll have to visit the penalty box. That will be the equivalent of adding about 5 seconds onto the lap time. So this is bad news for the championship leaders. Felix Hersiger will have to take a tight line into turn 1. The right-hander will have to reduce his speed to no more than 50 kilometers an hour, and will need to pass through the white box. Will he do it this time around? He needs to do it. No, he hasn't. I think he might get away with doing it one more time. Getting over the start-finish line one more time. This is why here. So he came out. Now the race control have all the data, and they will probably think that he backed out of it because he didn't want to hit the line before the clock struck 0. In the background, in the number 1 car, Emil Yerdrum was starting to look a little bit impatient. He knew the car was going slow in front and got the jump on him, and that is why we now have the penalty lap for car 63. He'll need to take it the next time around. If he doesn't, now that is the car back in, oh, it's the 163. I saw the 63, not the 1. So that is the other of the Liquimoli Team Exler, as you were, all the Zulaf and Hersiger fans having a panic there. That is the other of the Liquimoli Team Exler Lamborghini Huracans, and that is John Paul Southern handing over to Jonas Karklees. Whew, relax, everyone. So they are in for their stop as well. In the background, you can see Mark Kastelitz handing over to Pavel Lefterov. Alex Tauscher has handed the seat over to Leo Pickler. So that's the 41 car emerging from the pits now. So quite a few drivers now in the pit stop sequence. We've still got 9 cars yet to stop, including our race leader, Jamie Day. Right, a penalty lap has also been awarded, and it has been a troubled weekend for Pavel Lefterov and Mark Kastelitz. So a pit stop infringement. It may well be that the driver exited the garage early, or there were too many people working on the car. whatever it was, the race stewards have got involved, and it's a penalty lap for Pavel Lefterov as well. So a visit to the penalty box will be incoming. I haven't seen whether the 63 car has served its penalty yet or not. Currently in 13th place, the leading stopper at the moment is Leo Pickler, but we've got others coming in now. So Simon Conner-Prim handing over to Robin Rogowski. Also in is the number 19 car, that's Ethan Brown, handing over to Tim Hooter. And then the 26 car, Felice Gelmini, handing over to Nico Hanska. Nico, a fairly experienced pilot in the world of GT Masters in the grand scale of things. Right, confirmation that Felix Hersiger has served his penalty lap, and very helpfully on our timing screen, it says penalty lap okay. So we know that it's been served, justice has been done, and he can continue on his way. Right, here comes other cars into the pit lane. Well, that is in fact Robin Rogowski coming out. All right, in comes our race leader, because we've only got, good heavens, only a minute and 10 seconds of the pit window left. Jamie Day in late in the window, as predicted. There's Baudouin Detu getting ready to jump into that car. The French driver, who's very much coached by Jamie Day as well. They turned out to be a really, really good combination. And I was talking to Jamie earlier, we're just saying how good Baudouin has been, how he has improved race on race, is getting quicker. Well, the pressure is on now, because from the race lead, the 39 car is into the pits. Everybody else in as well. Kiana Blum is in, Jamo Hertling, Sandra Holzem, Fabio Rauer, Gerhard Tuareza. Remember, Tuareza will have that shorter pit stop as a result of being paired with a bronze driver, now with Gottfried Grasser at the wheel of that car. Our leading stopper at the moment is Leo Pickler. He's up at turn 7 and at turn 8. So now we wait to see who comes out of the pits and how quickly they come. At the moment, Pickler is into the Vidal chicane. We've got cars moving. Baudouin Detu is out, just squeezes out in front of Nicholas Callas, who's taken over from Kiana Blum. Also out is coming the 21 car, Enrico Ferderer at the wheel. There is Pickler in the red and white Porsche. So everybody out fairly rapidly there, and it looks like Pickler is not going to come out of this sequence terribly well. He stopped early, but there's an awful lot of cars in front now. Of course, their tyres will have cooled in the pit window. There's Gottfried Grasser. We'd expect Pickler to probably dispatch him reasonably quickly, because that car has been stationary in the pits. And when it's stationary, of course, the tyres do cool down. The drivers have also got to get into the groove, having been sat in the garage for the first half of the race. So Pickler will fancy picking off the number 22 car fairly quickly. But that is the 6th place. So having stopped early, hasn't really worked to the advantage at the moment. Car 14 under investigation for blocking car 163 at pit exit. So maybe another issue similar to what we saw earlier. This time it'll be Pavel Lefterov under investigation for blocking Jonas Karklis, the Lithuanian driver who's taken over from John Paul Southern. So that's another investigation, and a penalty lap has been awarded. Another penalty lap for Pavel Lefterov, so he'll be thoroughly fed up about that. The Bulgarian driver coming into this championship very much as a contender, but scrapping around at the back of the points-paying positions. Not what he had in mind, as Leighton Fury wastes no time at all in dispatching the 22 car and working his way past. So Gottfried Grasser sees the BMW disappearing off in front. So with the pit window done and dusted, it's Baudouin Detu who leads the way by 2.5 seconds from Nicholas Callas. This could be exciting. Nicholas Callas, who's done a couple of years in ADAC GT Masters, a bit of a twitch there as he hit the curb with the Mustang. But in 3rd place, Enrico Ferderer on his debut weekend in ADAC GT Masters may well be trying to make inroads on both of the cars in front. You've got Leo Pickler in 4th place, who's taken over from Alex Tauscher. So with 22 3/4 minutes plus 1 lap of this race remaining, this is shaping up to be a grandstand finish. We have confirmation that Pavel Lefterov has taken his penalty lap, and he has done that satisfactorily. So he continues on his way, albeit down in 12th place. So this could be very exciting as this race starts to reach the final part as the cars that are a little bit further back may be closing in. In the background there is Storm Yerdrum, celebrates his birthday this coming Wednesday. Just to think, this time last year, Storm Yerdrum was racing a VW up in the ADAC Tourenwagen Junior Cup. Then he stepped in to GT4 last July. As we look at the point standings, if things remain as they are now, he stepped into GT4 Germany and then was racing GT3 at Destin GT Masters later in the year, about August, September time at the Nürburgring, and now is a GT Masters driver. So the 16-year-old becomes 17 on Wednesday, showing a fair pace here compared to some of his more experienced rivals. Well, you saw the points update flashing up on your screen there. So things finish as they are now. Well, there's a fat chance of that happening. We are going to head into the penultimate round of the season with a tie at the top of the points. This could go all the way down to the absolute end. At the moment, Baudouin Datu and Jamie Day are looking for a first ever win in ADAC GT Masters. They've got a 2.892 cushion over Nicholas Callas and Keanu Blum, Enrico Ferderer and J-Mo Hertling in third place, making certainly Ferderer making his debut this weekend in GT3 racing and ADAC GT Masters. Then Leo Pickler, then Leighton Furry in fifth place, then Gottfried Grasser, Emil Yerdrum in seventh, and it's Juliano Holzem in eighth. So the Holzem twins there at the back of that particular queue that you can see, having closed in on Emil Yerdrum, but they will be impatient to get to the front. They want to get back towards the top of the championship hunt, but at the moment, a podium looking like a bit of a stretch unless there's something that befalls some of these cars in front of them. So if things finish as they are now, the championship will be insanely close, and that's what we love about the ADAC GT Masters. Looking down towards turn one to the inside of Emil Yerdrum, under braking, there is Holzem, Juliano Holzem for that seventh place. The two cars run side by side briefly at the moment. Yerdrum's able to keep that Mustang in front, but for how long? Holzem once again to the inside, through the corner they will come, which is turns 3 and 4, and the BMW muscles its way through and relegates Emil Yerdrum down into 8th place. So with the rumble of the cars up ahead, Gottfried Grasser, solid job in 6th place at the moment, along with Gerhard Racer. How long can he hold on to that position? Can he remain in 6th place for the duration of the race? He's got himself up to speed yesterday, looking a lot more in the battle today as well. Once again, Storm Yerdrum in the background, flashes the lights in 11th place, backs off for nobody. Remember, even with a slow puncture yesterday, was still able to bring the car home in 6th place along with Fabio Rauer. And would dearly love to give himself an early birthday present by getting somewhere near to the podium. Well, that is going to be a stretch here today, but still, with those cars bunched up in front of him, anything could happen. Now, just up ahead of Storm Yerdrum, that's Felix Herziger, our championship leader. He, in turn, is attacking Robin Rogowski. So Rogowski in 9th, Herziger in 10th, Yerdrum in 11th. A non-finish is not on the table here. They cannot afford a non-finish in the championship hunt. It is so close. So Herziger needs to tiptoe very carefully, trying to attack the Audi, but also not allowing Storm Yerdrum through. At the moment, Herziger in that top 10 position, in 10th place. Look how wide out of the corner Storm Yerdrum goes in the BMW. Out of turn 4 towards 5 they come, and then up towards turn 6. It's where a lot of the hard work is done, where the drivers close in on the car in front, ready then when they exit turn 7 in a few moments to go to that flat out corner. That is the opportunity to make the move. And Holzem and Grasser run side by side. It's Holzem trying to find a route up to 6th place, but in there as well, Emil Yerdrum wants a little bit of revenge of what might have occurred already. In towards the chicane they come, and Gottfried Grasser fighting back, the bronze-rated driver, saying, "You will not pass." And suddenly, Holzem is shuffled back, not 1, but 2 positions. Now into the clutches of Emil Yerdrum. Gottfried Grasser, what a sterling job there. Out along the pit straight he comes once again in the Lamborghini Huracan. In towards turn one they come. Now to the inside comes Emil Yerdrum. He ducks to the inside, sells the dummy, goes to the outside and up to the back as Juliana Holzem. That's big contact into the back of Emil Yerdrum's car. And for Holzem, missed the braking points. And there's a lot of damage to both cars there. Yerdrum, I should think he'll be steaming there because the back end of that Mustang has been damaged quite badly. May well have bodywork rubbing on the tyres. That will be under investigation by our race stewards. But that was a big impact. You can see the corner of the Holzem BMW has been rearranged. It may well be that one or indeed both of those cars may not make it to the end of the race now. 16.5 minutes remaining. Gottfried Grasser at the front of that queue with what remains of Emil Yerdrum's car. Now, amazingly, Yerdrum doesn't look to have lost any pace, but Holzem think there may be bodywork pretty close to that left front wheel. So you can see the difference in speeds there. So a fair difference between the BMWs and the Mustangs. That is at the timing being in sector 2. But 243 kilometers an hour, and they were heading in towards that braking into turn one. Is anybody going to peel off into the pits? Well, everybody's going to try and keep going at the moment. Keep an eye on the lap times for Emil Yerdrum, but that car will certainly not have benefited from that impact at the rear. Well, Holzem's not giving up, is he? He's close back in on a different Yerdrum this time, Storm Yerdrum. Up ahead of him with a significantly more intact BMW than the compatriot behind him. Out of all of this, Gottfried Grasser continues in 6th place. And there is confirmation of that investigation. So you can see here, Yerdrum ducked to the outside of Gottfried Grasser, and it just looked like Juliana Holzem maybe looked a little bit undecided under braking, braked quite late, looked like he was going to go to the inside, then decided not to. And it looked like maybe just missing a braking point. This will be interesting on board. Let's have a listen. There's the clatter. Looks kind of fairly cosmetic, the damage to Yerdrum's car. As easy for me to say, stood up here. At the moment, well, the last lap, Emil Yerdrum was certainly was a 130.7. Up ahead of him, Grasser was a 130.5. So hasn't lost loads of pace. Holzem a 132 last time around. I think the Holzem car may be ailing a little bit as a result of that impact, but we will see. Certainly keeping hold of the back of the queue, but a lot of damage there to that car. 14 minutes and 20 seconds for it to hold together. 14 minutes and 20 seconds for Gottfried Grasser to continue in 6th place. Of course, as long as they get it to the end, will be the winner in the Pro-Am race on account of being the only Pro-Am pairing, but knows exactly where to put that Lamborghini Huracan. Might have learned a few tricks from his drivers, of course, with Mirko Bortolotti and Max Powell as his drivers in the DTM. We say get well soon, right through the penalty box for causing a collision. Well, that was taken very quickly because that flashed up on my timing screen. About the same time he took it, so that was a penalty to Juliano Holzem for causing a collision. Kind of had a feeling that might be incoming. There's only one visit to the penalty box and he's done it okay, but that has dropped him well out of the hunt at the moment. On board with the Audi of Robin Rygowski in 8th place, staring at the bits that are falling off Emil Yerdrum's car. Who's going to pay for that one? In 7th place, Grasser at the front of the queue. Great to see Gottfried there holding on. The green box around his number indicating he is the Pro-Am driver in the race, but very much holding his own. Now we have a challenge coming into the Vidor chicane, but still Emil Yerdrum, maybe with a car that's not handling as well as it might have been, not able to find a route past the Lamborghini Huracan up ahead. Just behind Robin Rygowski. Also Storm Yerdrum in there, and of course Felix Hersiger, championship leader between those two. Out along the pit straight we come once again from the perspective of Robin Rygowski in towards turn one. There is Yerdrum, has a little look to the outside of the championship leader. A respecter of nobody. Storm Yerdrum says, you might be leading the championship, but I want those points. I want to get past. and putting the pressure. Remember, every point counts. So 9th place, not the points haul that they would hope for from this race. But if that's 10th, it's going to be even less points, clearly. So Storm Yerdrum quite eager to get past. Hersiger will be mindful of that. Heading around towards turn 5. They will come in just a few moments. Baudouin Detu leading by 2.5 seconds. Nicholas Callas in second. Enrico Ferderer in 3rd place. Leo Pickler in 4th. Leighton Furry in 5th. Then it is Gottfried Grasser in 6th place at the head of this queue. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. All running very much in a queue at this point. Heading up towards the chicane once again. And then round the chicane we come, bumping over the curbs, attacking the curbs hard. Felix Hersiger, there's the view back, great onboard camera there, looking back at Storm Yerdrum. Just get a feeling with 11.25 minutes remaining of this race, this could be all about to explode. There is the Grasser car in 6th place. Yerdrum has a look to the outside now. Here we go into turn 1. Everybody taking different lines, under braking to the inside. Emil Yerdrum doesn't make it stick there, but now he gets a nose in the back end of the car. You can see it dancing over the curbs. He goes wide out of the corner. Robin Rogowski maybe senses an opportunity here as well. Yerdrum gathers it all up, but that was not a tidy sequence of corners. And again, maybe that damage to the back of the car, handling being affected by it. In the background there is Storm Yerdrum trying to get involved as well. I don't think we've actually seen a proper battle between the two Yerdrum brothers yet. Could this be the time that it happens? Storm certainly working his way forwards up ahead of him. Felix Hersiger, remember the Hersiger car has extra weight on board, 20 kilos on board. So putting that pressure on. Robin Rogowski has a look to the inside of Yerdrum, and you see it there because if Yerdrum tries to make the move on Gottfried Grasser and it doesn't stick, he could end up losing a position. Rogowski suddenly looking menacing behind. Gottfried Grasser bumping over the curbs, still holding on to that position. 6th place, can he do it for another 10 minutes? Because that's what's remaining of this race, plus the obligatory 1 lap. All of this is of no concern to Baudouin Detu. 3.3 seconds to the good of Nicholas Callas. Enrico Ferderer in 3rd place. We have a look here as we head out towards turn 1. All that weight on the Lamborghini. He's taking a lot of powering up and a lot of slowing down into turn 1. Yerdrum's going to tuck to the inside. You can just see it happening, can't you? But the inside then becomes the outside around turn 2. Up ahead, Emil Yerdrum just picks up a little bit of dirt in the Mustang, throws it into the air. Everybody's staying in the same positions at the moment, but this could all change. 9.25 minutes remaining. ADAC GT Masters here at the Nürburgring. We look at our championship leader at the moment, but will that car still be in the lead of the championship when this race is done and dusted? Currently in 9th place and holding on for all he's worth, Felix Hersiger. 2nd place in the championship, Leighton Furry, currently running in 5th place. So would get more points, would score more points, would close to within about a point of the championship leaders. But if Storm Yerdrum gets past, all maths and all calculations are out the window, because that would shuffle the number 63. So there is the championship leader, the number 63 car, Felix Hessiger in 9th place. In 10th place, Storm Yerdrum in car number 10. This is such a great battle. Robin Rogowski just ahead of them. So these two cars with nobody to challenge, able to fight it out on the track, but time is running out. 7 minutes remaining of this race. Baudouin Detou still stretching his legs at the front, nearly 4 seconds clear of Nicholas Callas. 9th place Hessiger, having to make that Lamborghini as wide as he possibly can. Out along the pit straight, look at Gottfried Grasser still holding off Emil Yerdrum. Into turn 1. I think we need Gottfried Grasser to commit to a full season at GT Masters next year, don't you? In the background, Robin Rogowski just a little bit too far back to get involved. So 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th, all within the same shot, all fighting over those points. On board with Felix Hessiger, you could see when he closed in on a replay on Robin Rogowski. With that extra 20 kilos on board and, of course, the additional 10 kilos of BOP, just think the Lamborghini Huracan is proving to be a real handful. 30 kilos extra, well, that's kind of almost half a person, isn't it, on board that car, and every last kilo makes a difference. Less than 6 minutes remaining. Here is our race leader for Come To You, Aston Martin. I'm receiving messages from my colleague and friend Adam Weller, who's telling me when was the last time an Aston Martin won a race in the GT Masters. I daren't tell you now because I don't want to put a curse on it. At the moment, it is looking pretty solid. I'm pretty sure Come To You Racing have never won in the Aston Martin either. But at the moment, looking incredibly solid. Nicholas Callas doesn't look to be able to do anything about it. The lap times, well, on the last lap, Nicholas Callas was about 0.2 of a second quicker. But at the moment, not really closing enough to make any difference. There is the 41 car of Leo Pickler in 4th place. Up ahead of him is the last of the podium positions in the hands of Enrico Ferderer. Ferderer, on his debut this weekend, would dearly love to stand on the podium on his first ever weekend in GT3 racing. If Leo Pickler could get past him, then Alex Tauscher would have that honour in his first ever weekend of GT3 racing, of standing on the top step of the podium. So the last of the podium positions there, heading in towards the Vidal chicane. Up ahead of them, Nicholas Callas, not really looking like he is catchable. They're about 1.1 seconds back from that, and that's a big moment. I think the tyre's gone. Max Rice's car, you see it snaking. Is it possible? Or maybe not. Maybe it was just handling. You saw the back end stepping out of that Mustang. It is clearly not in good shape as a result of that impact with Holzem. Can it hold on for another 4 minutes? It looked like a deflating tyre for 1 minute, but he's gathered it all up. Look at the monstering it over the curb. This is absolutely critical. Emil Yerdrum will be willing this race to finish in 7th place at the moment. The car is shattered at the back. He needs to bring it home. Up ahead of them in 6th place, Gottfried Grasser still leads that queue behind Emil Yerdrum. Then championship leader Felix Hessiger, who has found the route past Robin Rogowski. So Rogowski down into 9th place. Then Storm Yerdrum in the BMW at the back of the queue. Holds him quite a long way back. Let's have a look here at a replay of that moment. And he just took a lot of curb, didn't he? Emil Yerdrum. And on the outside, oh, that is where Hessiger found the route past Robin Rogowski as well. Came sailing through on the inside. So looking down towards the Vidal chicane with just over 3 minutes of this race remaining. Are we about to see an historic win for Come To You Racing? Aston Martin, Baudouin Detou at the wheel. Jamie Day put it on pole position this morning. Baudouin Detou has taken it over in his first year of GT3 racing. Now leads at the legendary Nürburgring. Everybody behind is scrapping. Leo Pickler, who we ride on board with at the moment. moment in fourth place, challenging for that podium position, under braking into turn one, on that inside. Can he slow it down? Can he keep it tight? He shuts the door. Well, he doesn't quite. The two cars run side by side. Federer comes back around the outside, so holds on to third place. 2 minutes and 20 seconds plus 1 lap remaining. The last of the podium positions. This fight is going to go all the way down to the absolute end. Baudouin Detu not under threat. Second place, Nicholas Callas not under threat. Third place, very much open for discussion. Here is our race leader. First, second, third, fourth. There they are, running together. The last of the podium positions. One of these two drivers is going to stand on the podium for the first time on their debut GT3 weekend. Either Alex Tauscher or Enrico Federer. Leo Pickler doing the work on behalf of Alex Tauscher in that fourth place. Needs the points for the championship as well. Tauscher not so much. Baudouin Detu leads the way. Here's Gottfried Grasser in sixth place. Emil Yerdrum with bits hanging off the Mustang, clearly not handling as it should do. Felix Hersiger, championship leader in eighth place. I want to look away and do points calculations, but I daren't stare away from the screen, because with 1 minute and 10 seconds of this race 8 of the season remaining, it could go in any direction. Rogowski is not done yet either. He is keeping the pressure onto Felix Hersiger for 8th place. That could be critical, but at the moment, Storm Yerdrum putting the pressure onto Rogowski. So rather than attacking, Rogowski having to defend from the orange and blue BMW. Out along the pit straight they come. Yerdrum getting some clean air into the car. It's a drag race in towards turn one. Yerdrum has the line under braking into the right-hander. Here they come. As long as he can slow it down, he's going to have that position. Past all the debris, some of which would belong to his brother. Out of turn one they come into turn two. Up that slight incline there, and Yerdrum's got the job done. So Storm Yerdrum up into 9th place, relegating Robin Rogowski down into 10th. We're into 15 seconds of timed racing, so it's what remains of the lap when the clock strikes 0, and then one more. You saw Jamie Day looking on. He's looking fairly calm and collected. I'm on a bag of nerves here as they come out of the Vito chicane. Into turn 11, they will come in a few moments, and it will be one more lap for the Come To You Racing Aston Martin. And across the line it comes once again. It seems that Nicholas Callas, who shares driving duties with Kiana Blum, has not got anything he can do about the Aston Martin. His main occupation at the moment will be to keep Enrico Federer behind him on this closing lap of the race. Leo Pickler will maybe make one last chance to get onto the podium. The team at Come To You Racing look on anxiously on this final lap of the race. This is the fight, third and fourth. In fact, second, third and fourth, all in one picture, because Callas has dropped back into the clutches of Federer, but at the moment just needs to hold it all together on this final lap of the race. They head in towards turn 5 for the very, very last time, and then it'll be up towards turn 6. No issues at all for Baudouin Detu, who took over from Jamie Day. Into turn 7, he will come in just a few moments. The fight for the last of the podium positions still underway. Is Pickler going to try anything in the closing stages of this race? Baudouin Detu with no problems at all as we look at turn 8 and then into turn 9 for the very last time to attack the curbing of the chicane. Then into turn 10, he will come, and then out in towards turn 11. Last weekend, we saw Come To You Racing take back-to-back wins in the DTM. 7 days later, it's Baudouin Detu and Jamie Day who take their first ever win in the ADAC GT Masters. Second across the line, Nicholas Callas and Kiana Blum. Enrico Federer on his debut weekend in GT3 Racing takes the last of the podium positions along with Jamo Hertling. And all the effort, Leo Pickler and Alex Tauscher, a solid 4th place. But Come To You Racing, what a great job from them. And now the rest of the place is fighting across the line. And there is Robin Rogowski, Holzem in there as well. Pavel Lefterov all scrapping over the positions. Gottfried Grasser in 6th place ahead of Emil Jerdrum, who hauls the remains of that car across the line. His brother behind him in 8th place. And then it'll be Felix Herziger, our championship leaders. Robin Rogowski holding on for a top 10 after an assault from Pavel Lefterov and Juliana Holzem. Victor Nielsen, good job from him in 13th place ahead of Jonas Karklis, Nico Handke and Tim Hooter. All cars making it to the end of the race. I think we had all cars yesterday as well. So really, really solid stuff from the GT Masters. But what a job from Jamie Day, who put it on pole position, and Baudouin Detu, who took it, brought it home. I said I'd give you Adam Weller's stat at the end. Aston Martin's most recent GT Masters win was at the Sachsenring in 2012. This race would be just their 3rd victory in the series ever. Thank you, Adam, for that. Apparently it was Christian Poulsen and Christopher Nygaard for young drivers, Aston Martin Racing, who won in 2012. There we go. History made here at the Nürburgring, at the Truck Grand Prix, in front of a massive crowd in the ADAC GT Masters. But hats off to Come To You Racing, hats off to Aston Martin, hats off to Jamie Day, who is coaching Baudouin Detu in his debut year in GT3 racing and wins race 8 of the season. So you can see the cars coming back in towards Parc Fermé now. It's not that they don't want to race and drive on the track. Of course, with the hot, sticky tyres, the drivers are instructed to pick up as much rubber and debris as they can to make sure the car is above the minimum weight when they are checked at the end. Right, there's your classification. I was about to look away and do point standings. I'm hoping my graphics man might be on top of it. What is it then? So it will be a 9th place for Herziger and Zulauf, a 5th place for Leighton Fury and Tim Zimmerman. So that, by my calculations, means that Herziger and Zulauf lead Fury and Zimmerman by just 1 point. That is close with just 2 rounds remaining of the ADAC GT Masters 2026 season. As we look at the cars coming in now to Parc Fermé, the team at HRT will go about rebuilding the left corner of the Emil Jerdrum Max Rice car. But again, everybody finishing. So good, robust, solid racing, thoroughly entertaining. Always good here. And in the sunshine, under the shadow of Nürburgring Castle. And I think the congratulations also coming to Gottfried Grasser there. I saw Baudouin Detu, I think that was, who was clapping. And what a stonking job he has done to bring it home in 6th place. Right, there you go. Well, I'm pleased my calculations aren't too far out of kilter, but Keanu Blum, Nicholas Callas are not a million miles out of this. They're going to rely a little bit on maybe some difficult times for the cars ahead, but a 35-point deficit is not a too steep mountain to climb, it's easy for me to say, but that is not overly steep for them to climb. I mean, it is a challenge, but they are in the championship hunt. Sandra and Juliana Holzem in 4th place, so they drop down to 4th. Pavel Lefterov and Mark Kastelitz, that's been a really tough weekend for them. Leo Pickler will get the points that he scored along with Alex Tauscher. And Fabio Rau and Storm Jerdrum will be 63 points back. After this race, about now, it's 112 points remaining on the table. So you can see that Jamie Day and Baudouin Detu certainly not out of the running in the championship hunt either. There's the rest of the points just scrolling through. A big thank you to our man who looks after the graphics here for our coverage, whose maths is way sharper than mine. And if I ever try to correct him, he's like, no, don't question my maths. You can see, right, well, the drivers that are no longer in the hunt, Max Cucuresi, we've lost anyway from the series at the moment. Ethan Brown, Tim Hooter, Joseph Ellerine, and Jan Duran, who's also not racing at the moment. A couple of drivers who have gone by the wayside for the time being. We're hoping we might see them before the season finishes. But you get a fairly clear picture of who the main championship protagonists are going to be, and as we head in towards the penultimate round of this series, which will be at the very tricky Salzburg Ring. That is in September, and that really is a challenge for these drivers. It's really coming down to Hersiger and Zulauf versus Fury and Zimmermann, the Holzums, Bloom and Callas, with Lefterov and Kastelitz very much in there, but maybe really relying on bad luck for those around them. Those are your main drivers in the hunt that will be looking towards the championship as we head towards the last 2 rounds. There we go, classification. I've got nothing on my timing screen to indicate that that might change. Of course, the cars do have to be scrutineered, but I don't think there'll be any issues there. So we should hopefully, that will be the official classification. Subject to confirmation though. But what a great job from Alex Tauscher and Leo Pickler. Tauscher on his debut weekend, but what an insanely good job for Enrico Förderer. J-Mo Hertling, we have seen him in the past in ADAC GT Masters. And J-Mo, this is his 6th race in GT Masters. He had a 2nd place at Hockenheim in 2024. Well, I think it's fair to say the competition maybe wasn't as great as it is now. But for Enrico Förderer, it really is his first weekend, and he's going to come home with a trophy in his suitcase. But what a result from Jamie Day on Bourdouin d'Etou at the top. So Jamie Day, this will be his 10th race in ADAC GT Masters. We saw him guesting at Spa-Francorchamps a couple of years ago. But for Bourdouin d'Etou, only his 8th race. So, yeah, it was the 10th race for Jamie Day, 8th race for Bourdouin d'Etou. Up until this weekend, their best had been last time out, which was a 6th place at the Lausitz Ring. But they have really stamped their authority on things here. So Bourdouin, who's part of the Aston Martin Racing Driver Academy, also has last year was in the GT4 European Series. Actually started out in 24 in the FFSA GT4 France. Prior to that was a motocross rider. So this is something a bit different, isn't it? Should try racing at Sachsenring. So he switched to GT racing and European GT racing, having started in motocross. It's a lot safer with 4 wheels, I think. Jamie Day, well, his CV, you'd need a fairly large piece of paper to get all that lot listed. But he's a British driver, but he lives in Dubai. He was 24. He guested at Spa with a 13th and 11th place. He was last year's GT World Challenge Europe Sprint Cup Silver Cup champion. There's a mouthful. But it's also, we've seen him he's been quite prolific in British GT. Right, well, let's have a listen. Well, we might not need a translator for Jamie.
With the 2 winners, congratulations. It seems like you love Nürburgring and Nürburgring loves you, right?
Yeah, to be honest, that was the perfect stint. Like, Jamie did a mega job with the pole this morning with a mega lap. And then I just finished the job and showed the potential we have, because we didn't have luck from the beginning of the season, also yesterday. So after the win last week in DTM, Ford come to you, winning here is perfect.
Were you excited watching him doing the 2nd stint, or were you all cool about it?
Honestly, I was all cool. He did a flawless job from start to finish. You know, the consistency was so high, and he just kept the pace where he needed it. So, yeah, to be honest, I was cool the whole time.
How much were you in the rear mirror? Because there was a lot of stuff going on behind you, and you were very smooth, right? Having a smooth ride in the front.
Yeah, just the first 2-3 laps, just seeing how the gap was extending, and then after that I knew I had the pace and the legs on the people behind, so just kept looking forward, focusing on what I was doing, just trying to stretch the gap as much as possible.
Right, are you going to have a celebration tonight?
Yeah, maybe not a big one, but we're going to have one, for sure.
Give us a quick, what is it like, the atmosphere around? Because there are so many fans around for so many different styles of racing, so what does it mean to you being around here at Track Grand Prix?
Yeah, it's honestly crazy. Like, the fans here this weekend is something special. It's not something you usually see on the GT Masters weekend, so it makes it even more special to win.
All All right, so thank you so much. Go get your trophy. Handing back over.
Go get your trophy. Yeah, it is an incredible atmosphere, a party atmosphere. If you're into your trucks, get your ticket for next year's Truck Grand Prix. It is insane. If you are offended by the sound of a truck horn, don't come anywhere near the Eifel region, because there have been truck horns sounding all day and all night. The fireworks have been magnificent. The partying has gone on into the early hours. For those who weren't glued to the Norway versus England game, they were here partying. Right, let's look at the driver classification once again. 1 point between it. Well, that's as good as level, isn't it? Heading into the penultimate round with Kiana Blum, Nicholas Callas very much in there as well. There's Enrico Förderer and J-Mo Hertling. And they will be delighted with a podium, certainly for Enrico Förderer on debut. And here they come to the third step of the podium. And a great job. Really nice to have Schnitzeland back. SR Motorsport by Schnitzeland. Can you please come back soon? We like you on the grid of the GT Masters. Message sent, please receive. Second on the podium for the second time this weekend. Still looking for that elusive first win, but surely that is going to come soon. Kiana Blum and Nicholas Callas. But what a stonking drive. Jamie Day put it on pole. Baudouin Detu brought it home. What a combination for Come To You Racing. And for the third time in the last 7 days, we have Come To You Racing on the top step of the ADAC podium. National anthem first. So, national anthem done for Belgium. I was expecting to see the Pro-Am pairing up there, but they haven't come yet. I would just say about the Pro-Ams, yesterday it was kind of a bit of a token, but now it really is well-deserved with that 6th place. There's Come To You, who are receiving the trophy for the teams. Oh, here they come now. So yesterday, Gerhard Tweresa and Gottfried Grasser had a 9th place, and that looked good. But this looks spectacular. Gottfried Grasser looks knackered. He probably like, never again. So he is on the podium. Remember, he's returning for the first time in 13 years to racing. Rudi Speich, the chairman of ADAC Mittelrhein, presents the winners' trophies. So Liquimoli, Maxi Baumann for managing sponsorships of Liquimoli. Maximilian Baumann, who will present the 2nd place trophies to Keanu and Nicholas. The 3rd place trophies. We got used to seeing this pairing win those in those overalls on the podium in GT4 Germany last year. And they receive their trophies. Yet more trophies for Enrico Förderer and J-Mo Hertling. Come To You Racing get a trophy for the team. Their first ever win in ADAC GT Masters. Got used to talk about Come To You Racing in TCR Germany a while ago. And there is Gottfried Grasser on the left, Gerhard Tweresa on the right in the Pro-Am pairings. And they get a trophy for their effort. They had to work for that though, didn't they? And a real highlight of the race for me was watching Gottfried fending off younger, very fast drivers and getting a solid position. So with those podium celebrations commencing and everybody running for cover. So they've got a bit of time now to reflect on the championship, on what has occurred. As dripping in champagne. So these teams carry washing machines around with them. You see the washing machines working into the night in the paddock. You can see why they're covered in champagne. Right, I believe, a treat, we might be able to bring you the Road to DTM podium in a bit. There, Felix Herziger and Finn Zulauf in the driver classification. Leighton Furry, Tim Zimmerman, Kiana Blum, Nicholas Callas. The Holzums dropped down to 4th place, 48 points back. Remember, 112 points still on offer after this weekend. And then Pavel Lefterov and Mark Kastelitz. I haven't even mentioned the Road to DTM. So the winner of the Road to DTM Championship receives funding to join the DTM next year. Coming into this weekend, Leighton Furry and Finn Zulauf with a 1-2. In this race, 3rd place in the Road to DTM. This might just bear quite a lot of resemblance to the podium you've just seen. There's Enrico Ferrer, J-Mo Hertling, Nicholas Callas, Kiana Blum to the 2nd step. I think we might know who's going to stand on the top step of the Road to DTM podium here. Jamie Day and Baudouin Datou. It's like having a slow-mo replay, isn't it? So the Road to DTM, the point systems are very different. The drivers get points for qualifying for the race. They also get negative points if they get grid drops or warnings. And the winner gets funding to join the grid of DTM next year. Let's have the national anthem once again. So for the second time, the Belgium national anthem. So we saw it last year. Finn Wiebelhaus won the Road to DTM, is now a podium finisher in the DTM. What an impressive driver he's turned out to be. Come through the ranks of HRT as well. And these drivers all aiming for DTM next year. Of course, there's only one position on the Road to DTM, and that funding very valuable. And of course, the drivers who win in the GT4 Championship, which is a level below GT Masters, they get funding for GT Masters. All part of the Road to DTM pyramid. Starts with karting, goes to the BMW M2 Cup, GT4, GT Masters, and then eventually into DTM. And it may well be the winner of the Road to DTM will get that seat in DTM next year. As I mentioned, coming into this weekend, it was Leighton Furry who led Finn Zulauf by 4 points in the Road to DTM. Sandro Holzum was 44 points back. Nicholas Callas was 46 points back. Well, clearly that will have closed up because this has been a spectacular race. Right, that's all there is from the Nürburgring. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you at the Salzburgring at the beginning of September. Thank you so much for joining us from the Nürburgring. For myself, Brian Oliver, we'll see you in Austria. Bye-bye.
Und wenn ihr soweit seid, die Flasche in die Hand und dann haben wir einmal It's time for Champagne!
Racing.